So our next speaker is Birger, who is a Swedish serial entrepreneur and investor that moved to Cape Town 19 years ago. And during the last 3 years, he has focused on developing sustainable sanitation, a closed-loop solution for schools in Sweden. And in 2021, he founded Sanitation Ambassadors. Borda.
Good morning, everyone. Nice to be here, and thank you for the invitation to tell the story about how I got into sanitation. And I'm in software. I've been in software for 25 years. And when we had this drought in Cape Town 2018, we had like 50 liters per person. And they said, if it's yellow, let it mellow. If it's brown, flush it down. And what's happening was that in the whole house smelled of pee. And I didn't like that. And Sweden has been, we are used to dry toilets. We are pretty good on urine separation, and we have probably the best wastewater plants in the world. And what's happening was that I imported one of these urine diversion toilets and just installed it in our house. And suddenly everybody in the house could pee and flush and poop and flush. And then I imported a shower from the US. They're using 2.7 liters of water. So we were showering like normal and put a little nozzle on the tap. And suddenly we were living like a normal life, and everyone was complaining. They were standing in a bucket and shower, and then they took the bucket and flushed into the toilet, and you get water all over the place. And I talked to a psychotherapist to say, bucket back. That's why when you're walking around with bucket. I heard story people falling on the buckets and hurt themselves and so on and so on. And I met two blokes at the school. My son goes to the American school in Cape Town. Two Swedes. Their wives were working here in South Africa, and they were like home dads. They were playing golf. And they said, let's start a company. We import this toilet so people can have like a proper toilet, even if it's no water or very little water. And we started that little business. It was meant to be like a hobby business, something you do with your left hand and selling some toilets on the web. And the reason for going and having like a lunch and a beer and talking business, like that. And then we got the call from a school in Coffee Bay that had been looking into our website, and she asked us if we could, if this toilet would work in their environment. And the first question I had, do you have water all the time? No. Okay, let's do like this. We come and visit you. And she started laughing, and she said, do you know what Coffee Bay is? Yes, I've been to the hole in the wall before, so it takes a day to travel to Coffee Bay. So if you want to be there one day, it's like take you 3 days. Yeah. And the last hour is like you don't know if you are in the bush or on the road sometimes. So we visit there, and they have like 2 pit latrines, and they have about 90 learners in this Montessori school. And there was no idea to think about like a flush toilet. And we have, from the supplier in Sweden, they have a hybrid version. But it's made in Sweden for a family of 4 to 6. Or because Stockholm, where I'm from, is surrounded by 27,000 islands, and you're not allowed to have septic tanks, and you're not allowed to. You can have septic tanks, but you have to flush all the water in the septic tank, and it costs a fortune to because you have to have a boat, and then you have a truck, and then to the wastewater plant. So we have developed lots of products to use little water. But anyway, I said we have a hybrid toilet. Let's test it here. And we talked to the builder, and we helped them to do like proper CAD drawings and so on of the building. And the building took forever. No, it's raining, so we can't do the slab. No, it's raining, we can't do the walls now because the concrete won't dry. So it took about 3 months to do, and we installed the toilet, and it worked perfectly in this environment. So I asked the lady that was responsible for the school how much was the cost of building the toilet. And the quality of the toilet was very nice. And I was shocked over the price. And she said, like, the builder, he's such a sweetheart. And he had put so much of his free hours into our project and so. And I just felt like, that builder, he's not really a nice guy, he charged a lot. And then I started to research what the cost of toilets in school environment are in South Africa. And the bloke that built their toilet, he was absolutely in the lowest part of cost of school toilet. So the nice guy was actually a super nice guy. And I'm born in Sweden, and we live IKEA life. IKEA is, if you don't know, is a furniture company. They put everything in flat packs. So a bookshelf is like this high, 2 meters long, and you put it up together, you do it yourself. And the price is like much lower than everything else, and the quality is very high nowadays. In the 60s the quality was like so-so, but they have developed quite a lot since then. So we started thinking of, can't we build a toilet that looks with a flat pack style? Which bottom is it? Arrow, thank you. So this is one of the schools we came to in this project, and the doors is on the side, and it's like a normal pit latrine. And this is a very rural toilet, right? The cool thing with this one, you have like a 360-degree view all the time. Huh? So we invented something called WASH Center, Water, Sanitation and Hygiene. And in these areas we like to also be a little colorful. So this is how it looks. And there's the full pit latrine in this school. And this one is 3 toilets. And it takes 2 days to build. The day 3, the kids can have a proper shit. The other cool thing is, like, if you look at the green, yellow, and so on, everything is plastic you can't recycle. Like toothpaste tube with aluminium lining. You can't recycle that. Well, you can, but you don't. That goes to landfill. So we take plastic from the ocean. We take plastic you can't recycle and building toilets from another angle. And when we installed this first one, was pretty cool because it was on a Friday, and when we left and came there on Monday morning, the whole village had used it. So the cleaning of it was like massive, but was lots of people that liked it. So this is the way we do it. We build the foundation and erect the whole thing in about 2 days, and it can take a little bit in the 3rd day if they want to have like a proper rainwater system. This is the basin with a time delay tap with a nozzle. See the little one up there? And it saves about 90% of the water, creating a mist. And at the time delay tap, you press it, you say psh, and then you soap your hands and you press it again, psh. So you're using extremely little water. That's the toilet inside. It's a urine separation toilet, been on the market in Sweden for like 25 years. So the pee goes here, and poop goes in the black hole. This is the tap that you will, like a spray, instead of like using lots of water. So you can see pieces of the plastic here. And we do rainwater harvesting. And the quite cool thing here is, like, the price found out that this is not correct. 25 to 45% lower. It's actually lower than that. So it's like cheap, quick to build, and the kids love it. And the cool thing with the flush hybrid toilet was that, yeah, we separate the urine and we flush only the urine. So we need just 100 milliliter water. So when you press the button, it actually says shh. So the first school we did, wow, we got flush toilets. Actually, it's not flush toilets, it's a hybrid toilet. But the experience was a flush toilet. And the next cool thing, if you talk about rainwater, we calculate with a rainwater tank of 2,700 liters as a standard configuration. And what's happening there was like, if we put in like a standard toilet that we have in South Africa using 9 liters of water, and a standard tap we use for washing your hands. And if you wash your hands like proper, according to the wash principles, you put on the tap and you wash your hands for 30 minutes. And nobody's turning the tap off. And you know, like, you don't do it. You put it on and it goes for 30 seconds. That tank of 2,700 liters will last for 200 visits. Then the tank is empty. So a school of like 100 learners, it will last for like a couple of days. With the technology we use, you have about, listen now, 9,000 visits on the same tank. So that's how it looks. And what we also find out, you know, like how to treat the poop. I read the Green Report, for instance, and it's quite sad to read that most of the poop is just going out into the ocean or the rivers. And I tried to find, we started to do with heat, with solar, similar to the solutions you showed earlier. And I found the research in the US, you can use mashed potatoes as instead of real poop, okay? So we went to Fruit and Veg and bought 25 kilos of potatoes and peeling potatoes like crazy. And then we did turds of potatoes. And we took solar and we tried to dry it and we measured and we put like lots of effort. It was like big bowls of mashed potatoes. And we rolling them and said, does it look like a proper turd? Yeah, no, slightly fatter and so on and so on. And during COVID, in June 2020, my family, we decided to go back to Sweden because we thought COVID's going to be Armageddon here in South Africa. So we took a repatriation flight to Sweden and we stayed there for 8 months. And I studied sanitation from like 5 o'clock in the morning to like 1:30 in the night. It's true. For 8 months. I met people during this journey, and one of the things I found so fascinating was black soldier flies. So through my network, I got to the university in Uppsala, and Professor Cecilia, she is the queen of black soldier flies. And I say, I want to see the farms and the maggots and everything. And they have like a proper farm with black soldier flies. And they showed me this was full of maggots. And she said, do you dare to touch them? And I said, yeah. I just put my hand in the maggots. And she said, you're brave. I mean, I know they are fine because I read about it. And but what do you want to do, Birger? Tell me. And I told the story and said, man, you do it so complicated. Why don't you use ammonia sanitation? I said, what's ammonia sanitation? And she told me how it worked and so and so on. And I said, take it one more time. And she told me one more time. And she said, I'm not the expert. You have to talk to Annika. She is the queen of poop. Treatment of poop. So what's happening, we talked and we started a project together with the university. And we tested now the first batch of poop at the WASH R&D. And in the third, we couldn't find any bad guys. So what we do now, in Q1 next year, we're launching our first resource and treatment center. And it's actually a wastewater plant without wastewater and no water. And we transfer the poop into quality fertilizer. because the small SMEs, the small farmers around in South Africa need all the fertilizer they can get. And the soil in South Africa, or actually whole Africa, need all the carbon it can get. And we have like 50 million people. Some go through a wastewater plant that we can produce lots of shit to get into the soil. So we created the Sanitation Ambassadors. It's the organization to take care of the containers in schools, drive them to the decentralized resource and treatment plant, convert the poop into fertilizer, educate the kids in how to wash your hands. And we also talk about, like in the teenager groups, like about menstruation. And what I find out, one of the things we did at the first toilet was like, I said, we should have at least one of the toilets with the basin inside. No, we always put the basins outside. I said, that's pretty weird. If you're a girl and you have like a menstruation problem, or like an accident, and you come out from the toilet and you look like you killed someone, right? Or you strangle a chicken or whatever it is, it's much nicer if you can clean yourself and come out and she looked at me and said, Birger, you're weird. How do you mean? You're a white middle-aged man talking about menstruation like it was normal. I said, hey, you are weird. 50% of the population in the world have it, will have it, or had it. So it's very, very normal. But last is I study now dehydration. And I find out that especially girls, where we have pit latrines, they don't drink in the morning because they don't want to go to school. And what's happening when they don't drink, they get dehydrated. And it's much more difficult to learn if you're dehydrated. And the same thing with menstruation. When you have the period and you have a disgusting pit latrine, you stay at home. And South Africa and whole Africa need well-trained females if we're going to build a good society, period. So that's what we are doing. And if you have questions. Okay, everything was super clear. So thank you very much.